This is the paramecium, as you can see over here. Simplest diagram, the one that you come across in your earlier classes, that is what I have used over here. Little bit stellar shape, contractile vacuole is present, lots and lots of cilia are present, pellicle is present. You draw cilia, this paramecium and euglena together, and you see that they have a pellicle that surrounds them. Food vacuoles responsible for ingestion of the food are present, anal pore for excretion is present, and buccal overture, you can just skip this. There is a macronucleus and micronucleus. Vestibulum is the oral groove through which the food vacuole takes up the food, and there is lots and lots of cytoplasm present inside the cell. This is the basic structure you have to keep in mind, and just to keep in mind, from the exam point of view and learning point of view, the syllabus is restricted to general characteristics only, and I guess this diagram is enough for understanding the general characteristics. First being that two nuclei are present, there is a food vacuole for ingestion, then there are contractile vacuoles which are present, pellicle is present, and the locomotory organ would be cilia. So these are the things that you have to remember about ciliates. Now what is this? This is something which causes sleeping sickness. Okay. Now this is a long flagella, and this is trypanosoma. These are the red blood cells that you can see. This is trypanosoma. This is a flagellate responsible for causing sleeping sickness. So before that, there is another grand old man of intestine. This is Giardia. Okay. So this is responsible for intestinal infection. These creepy organisms, they are present for giving you diseases, and because they are having flagella, as you saw just now, they are classified under zooflagellates. Okay. So what are the characteristics of zooflagellates that we have to see? They are the protozoans which move by means of a flagella. They have a flagella as their locomotory organ. Many of them are free living freshwater or marine organisms, and just now we saw that they are parasitic as well in humans. Many live in symbiotic relationship with other organisms. Now that symbiotic relationship could be beneficial, but most of them, they are parasitic. The example that we have is Trichonympha live in the gut of termites that we discussed in the beginning itself. It digests the cellulose. So the cellulose that is eaten by the termites which eat the wood, that is not digested by the termite itself, because termite is basically an animal. It is an arthropod, and arthropods or animals, we say, they do not have much of the cellulose digestion mechanism, and this trichonympha which is present inside their gut, that is in symbiotic relationship. That means it is getting that shelter inside the gut, and at the same time it is giving cellulose for digestion of the food. And some are parasites, as we have the trypanosoma which causes African sleeping sickness. One thing you have to remember, that it is transmitted by say fly. Okay. Now moving further, this is the most notorious sporozoan that we have, and this is one which causes malaria. This is the malarial parasite, and over here I am referring this Plasmodium. It could be Plasmodium malariae, it could be Plasmodium falciparum, it could be Plasmodium vivax, depending upon the species that it is, and this is the causative organism for the malaria. Now when I talk about malarial parasite, they are sporozoans, okay, which do not have, as you can see over here, earlier whichever picture we saw, we had a locomotory organelle present inside them. Over here we are not seeing any locomotory organelle. This is a heat graph, I guess, that has been used to depict the organism's body. And we come to the last classification of protozoa, that is sporozoans. Most not motile except the male gametes which would be formed by these sporozoans. The male gamete is usually whenever we talk about male gamete, it is you see, endowed with motility. So in this case, these are typically like animals. We can call them typically animals. That is why few of the authors, as I am repeating it again and again, in some books, if you are referring to the books, you would find protozoa under kingdom Animalia, but in some books you are going to find it under protozoans. And when we talk about sporozoans, most of them, they are non-motile. Their male gametes would be motile. They have complex life cycles in the way that they have many stages inside them. They could have those which are parasitic. When you study about Plasmodium, you are going to come across the thing thing that they have a secondary host, they have a primary host. There are so many life stages that they show. So there are complex life cycles, and many life stages would be shown. They produce sporozoites. As a result of sexual reproduction in these sporozoans, sporozoites are produced. So one thing you have to remember, whenever the term sporozoite would be used in case of Plasmodium, that is a result of sexual reproduction that has taken place in the sporozoans. Important in transmission of infections. We have been talking so much about malaria, so they would be important in transmission of infections. Most form oocysts. Now what are oocysts? Oocysts, after the gametes are formed, the fusion, the fertilization that takes place, that leads to the formation of oocysts. Entire group is parasitic. How notorious? You can very well imagine. Most, not just most, all of the sporozoans are going to be parasitic. That means they are going to give some or other sort of harm to their host. And the examples that we have over here is Plasmodium. This SPP refers to any species, it could be any one, that is Toxoplasma, and then we have Cryptosporidium. These are the three examples if you can learn them, but do keep in mind that Plasmodium has to be learned by heart. So this is all about sporozoans, and with this we come to the end of Kingdom Protista. I hope you are quite clear by now that what Protista is all about, and also you have to keep in mind one thing, that these all are taxonomic misfits, and if you can just replay and try to recall the characteristics and learn them by heart, it would be the best and beneficial for you.